Which parts of my business would break if we doubled?
If I think about what dragons are we're trying to slay right now, and if twice the volume, let's pick sales, okay? If that were it and it doubled, you go, okay, that solves a lot of, well, if you're a well-run company, it can solve some problems. But all of a sudden, you're right. If I think about, I think for me, doubling business, I think about how are we able to scale quickly in the ways we need to. When I think about it'd be the areas I don't feel I can scale quick enough in my business, veteran or established, what we call senior project managers that have a knowledge, a process knowledge, an industry knowledge, the relationships in all the cities where we get things done for people. They just they don't all grow on trees, and there's not a lot of them that are unemployed, right? So how do I how do I double that bench if 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 business doubled? I think right now, maybe it's because of the emphasis on things like AI, Khalil. I think the technology driven or the areas I'm looking to automate, that's the thing I think that would slow me down because a lot of what we do still feels very manual. And I know this is a thing for my industry. So for exhibit builders, we talk a lot about the pursuit, the time it takes to estimate a turnkey project for an event. And it could take hours or days, depending on the type of event. And if you're in an RFP situation, right? So the holy grail right now is can any of these AI technology tools, I don't think it's going to replace and be able to all be done automated. There's a great guy, longtime friend. His name's Tim Young. He's a senior VP with the Astound Group. Shout out to Astound. And he's been killing it on a thread on LinkedIn lately, talking about AI will not save or help a company who's got broken processes, right? And so you go, so I think, to double sales, to double capacity, to double inventory, and which would allow me to pay, all of those things just lead to a new bottleneck or a new challenge of, right? What are we doing? So for me, I think the two things I would look at that would give me a problem if we doubled in our business is one would be the areas that I don't feel I can quickly scale up. And two would be the things I'm already feeling pressure to embrace technology to help us be more efficient. Well, if we just needed that twice as much, we don't have the answers yet on that.
Yeah.
So those would be my two things. What what about
Yeah, I
what about
think
you?
I think it's the capacity to deliver. If we doubled sales, it would probably be around hiring. We'd probably our people would be over capacity. We wouldn't deliver enough, so we'd have to go and hire, you know. And then onboarding becomes a big issue, training becomes a big issue, introducing staff to clients becomes an issue if needed. Yeah, so just getting everybody to understand the systems, buy into the systems.
I
So,
find it's funny, Clue. We're in an interesting place right now. I have capacity, and we're growing, but it has to do with the quality of the people that we've hired, and in addition, I think my senior staff, the management team, we've really shaken out any slop that was in our system, and that could be in the discovery process. I mean, we will tap out and say no to something, not because we're afraid. We've just gotten really good at knowing who we are and who we are not, and we don't chase anything just to get the business. So as a result, we're very intentional, and I find that it's funny, we just had this conversation. We're talking about bringing on maybe doing a small acquisition. and we have the capacity to take it on without, without really having to do much in way of additional fixed costs. But then what immediately will leave is the comfort of however we're growing naturally and organically beyond that. Well,
Yeah.
we better make some moves so we feel just as ready as we feel right now, you know?
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, I mean, you think about what would break. Sometimes it's your culture that could break if you
Yes.
doubled, you know? Sometimes
That's a great point.
a good one that people don't think about, sometimes your accounts receivable doubles.
Yeah, great point.
So how does cash look whenever you're in that case? How does
Yeah.
inventory look whenever so
How
those
good are
are
you
all
at
things to think about.
right? How good are you at collecting money, right? Because if you double in size, you're gonna, let's just say you're doubling the same kind of work you're doing now, you're doubling costs. So if you're not good at the collections and adhering to whatever your terms are and your financial protocols are, you can get in trouble pretty quick, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
have the working capital to double
So yeah,
is a
exactly.
big
Great point.
question.
Great point.